Good day, students. So, for today's discussion, we will discuss Module 5 about civil society and social management. So, at the end of our module, the students are expected to discuss the concept of civil society and social movements, explain the contribution of civil society organizations and social, and lastly, evaluate the role of civil society organizations and social movements. So we have the first one, the civil society. So when we say civil society, it refers to the different peoples, organizations which are actively participating in the management of public affairs in a given society or country by applying pressures upon the government or other organizations in order to press upon their demands. So for instance, the workers through their various labor organizations or trade unions hold strike, rallies to demand wage hike or salary increase. The farmers organization push for meaningful agrarian reforms. So aside from this, the transport groups fight for the fare increase and gasoline price control. On the other hand, these are called pressure groups. Thus, the role of the government is to regulate these conflicting interests to such a degree of tolerable struggles, giving them a leeway of free expression with the required democratic space. So, failure on the part of these groups or sectors to reach a voluntary compromise. Thus, the government has to step in through the issuance of the policies or laws for the purpose. Hence, the guidance, the basic tenet on human relation, as hereunder quoted for observance by all concerned, are as follows. So we have the first one, the people's rule. So the people's rule, the rule then of the people in this respect is to see to it that only qualified people can be elected or appointed in the government, so that laws or policies it issued will be effective. Its purpose of ensuring peace and order, as well as to achieve progress and development. So moreover, the kinds of government or state that we can have are the kind of people we are. The reason is that people themselves constitute the state and the government. Hence, the proper education for the people about politics and good governance is necessary in order for them to become responsible voters or electors, and also as responsible members of society or responsible and or law-abiding citizenry. Next, we have self-determination. So self-determination is the right of the people to choose the kind of government for themselves without interference from their countries. These may include the right to choose their way of lives according to their best interests. So when we say self-determination, it also grants individuals the right to form a people, which then has the right to establish an independent state, as long as they grant the same to all other individuals and peoples. So self-determination is the process by which a group of people, usually possessing a certain degree of national consciousness, to form their own state and choose their own government. Rule of the youth. So the state recognizes the vital role of the youth in nation building and shall promote and protect their physical, moral, spiritual, and social well-being. It shall inculcate in the youth patriotism and nationalism and encourage their involvement in public and civic affairs. So the role of the youth in the nation building cannot be denied. Youth are potential force to affect meaningful changes towards social, political, and economic development, provided that they are properly guided. Hence, the physical, moral, spiritual, and intellectual well-being of the youth must be promoted and protected. So, patriotism and nationalism, which is love of country, shall be inculcated upon as values of the youth, and they must be encouraged to participate and get involved with public and civic affairs because youth are the hopes of fatherland. So youth participation is very much needed and essential for a democratic society. For youth engagement on the part of public authorities, it helps young people to be relevant in the decision-making process and also allows them to broaden their own experiences. So indeed, young people should take part in the democratic process at all levels of governance, from the local to the international. Next, we have the role of private sector. So the state recognizes the indispensable role of the private sector, encourages private enterprises, and provides incentives to needed investment. So the Philippines, being basically an agricultural country, comprehensive rural development and agrarian reform shall be the backbone of a strong and stable economy, to be initiated by the private sector as an active partner of the government in the task of affecting progress and development, especially through education. So the emphasis here is the citizens' initiative for their own development, especially in the economic aspect. So in other words, the private sector provides around 90% of employment in the developing world, including formal and informal jobs, and also delivers critical goods and services and contributes to the tax revenues and the efficient flow of capital. So further, it will undertake the majority of future development in urban areas. So if you are looking for employment, you may consider opportunities in both the public and private sector. While the public sector provides services to the public, the private sector focuses on the interests of individuals, organizations, and their stakeholders. Next, we have the non-government organizations. So the state shall encourage non-government community-based or sectoral organization to promote the welfare of the nation. So the role of the community-based organization will as sectoral organizations for national development cannot be denied. Hence, the state through the government must encourage their formation and shall even support them. So since this non-government organization help improve their lives of their serving the people. So the NGOs ensures development, which essentially involves the actual or the equal participation of the people. They play an important role in educating and motivating people to fight for their rights. So the national government organization or the NGOs actively work for promoting education, particularly among weaker sections of the population. So NGOs perform a variety of functions They also provide information and technical expertise to government and international organizations, such as specialized agencies of the UN on various international issues, and often supplying local information unavailable to governments. Next, we have equal access to opportunity. So the state shall guarantee equal access to opportunity for public service and prohibit political dynasty as may be denied by law. In country with personal-oriented political system, this guarantee to equal opportunity to public service is quite important with utmost relevance. But to give a substance to this equal opportunity clause requires another constitutional postulate of utmost sacrifices. Moreover, it needs political will. So this refers also to reducing the compulsory retirement of any government official upon reaching an accumulative service of 20 years, regardless of age, so that fresh bloods with vigor of the youth can be given a chance to enter the public service. So the government must not also be denied of the modern technology and management services with modern minds. Next, we have women. So the state shall protect working women by providing safe and healthful working conditions, taking into account their maternal functions and such facilities and opportunities that will enhance their welfare and enable them to realize their full potential in the service of the nation. So promoting women's representation in elected bodies allows them to contribute to development and nation building, and ensure that the governance leads to the equal access to ensure to develop results and outcomes for both women and men, girls and boys. Next, we have consult mechanism. So the right of the people and their organization to effective and reasonable participation at all levels of the social, political, and economic decision making shall not be abridged. The state shall by law facilitate the establishment of adequate consultation mechanism. Next, we have the dynamic social order. So the state shall promote a just and dynamic social order that will ensure the prosperity and independence of the nation and free the people from poverty through policies that provide adequate social services, promote full employment, a rising standard of living, and improve quality of life for all. A just and dynamic social order refers to such status of life where the condition of the society is conducive for progress and development for its members economically, politically, and even socially. So, in other words, the dynamic social order obtains the stable macro pattern or equilibrium and is maintained thanks to an insistent local microactivity of its units. It will be capable of restoring or reproducing the desired features. Next, we have the rule and rights of people's organization. So the state shall respect the rule of the independent people's organization to enable the people to pursue and protect within the democratic framework and their legitimate and collective interests and aspiration through peaceful and lawful means. People's organizations are bona fide associations of citizens with demonstrated capacity to promote the public interest and with an identifiable leadership, membership, and structure. So the people's organization assess implementations in, for example, when it comes to disaster recovery. The people's organization encourage independence among members, and also people's organization provide solutions to community issues like poverty and development. People's organization provide vitality and inspiration to members through their different activities or their particular activities. Next, we have the interest groups. So in political science, the civil societies are also known as interest groups. From Dr. F. Salweta has this to say about them. In a pluralistic society, the organization and presentation of the public varied interests in consonance with the principles of democracy. Public policy represents the compromise achieved in political terms on solution to problems. So the interest groups are formed to promote the interests or concerns of their members. They are primarily concerned with influencing public policy because a key function is to exert pressure on political decision makers. So the interest groups are sometimes referred to as pressure or lobby groups. Next, we have the social movement. So the social movement is thereby achieved through the different civil societies in terms of promoting the respective interests of their respective members given the free atmosphere of a democratic space to air their grievances and allowing the free expressions in whatever way they believe proper to press upon their demands against whoever or wherever, whenever, and whatever. So a social movement is a loosely organized effort by a large group of people to achieve a particular goal, typically a social or political one. This may be to carry out, resist, undo a social change.